Thanks for your interest in BrewMap Insights. I think you're going to find this tool really useful for diving into the San Diego County market. It was really fun to be able to create this with the San Diego Brewers Guild in order to give their breweries and other people selling into the market a really good tool to be able to dive in and see what's going on. So the insights that we're about to show you in this demo are made up of data from the US Census. We're pulling ABC licenses from San Diego County, and then also grabbing other off-premise locations. So a lot of really good data to target exactly what's going on in different parts of the county, and then tailor your strategies accordingly. So let's get into that demo. Okay, let's dive into BrewMap Insights. When you navigate to the page, you're going to see this navigation board in front of you. What this is going to show you is each of the different visualizations that you can navigate to. All you have to do is hover over the picture and click. If you ever need some more explanation on what you're looking at, and basically to watch this video again, if you click this little icon here, it'll play that video right for you. Okay, let's dive into some of these. In this case, I'm going to start on this one on the upper right. So what we're looking at here, and I'll spend a little bit more time getting you oriented on this one because a lot of the other ones work very similarly. First of all, across the top, we have some different controls that we can use to get the visualizations more dialed into what we want to see. So in this case, we have a lot of different metrics that we can look at. I'm going to keep it on right now, age 35 to 44. And what you'll notice in the visualizations is anything that's in the darker blue means there's a higher population in this age range. Anything that's in kind of that darker orange or red color means that there's low population there. Let's click on one more just so you can see things change. I just clicked on 45 to 54, so you'll notice things change slightly. Next up, we can overlay some different locations. So we can show all of our breweries for San Diego on the map. We can show all ABC licenses. And then lastly, we can show all retail. It's going to be a little bit busy when you're zoomed all the way out like this, but if you scroll in and zoom in, you'll start to see that these are individual locations on the map. So you can really start to see what's going on in different areas, and then also understand the underlying demographic behind that in the zip code. Okay, let me back up a little bit here. While that's getting set, off to the right-hand side, what we're doing now is we're just showing from largest to smallest all of the different zip codes based on this metric that we have chosen. And again, we're doing that darker blue if it's a high number, and then we go down to that orange if it's a lower number. Okay, let's say it's kind of a lot on the screen. So what if you just wanted to look at the 10 highest or lowest? I just click that button. Let me get rid of this real quick. And now we're just highlighting the 10 highest and 10 lowest, which might be interesting. Let's click on something else. Let's do medium income. Okay, so now we can see kind of where that's clustered. So you can play around with a lot of this information. If you needed to have a reminder, for example, on where one of these zip codes is, just go ahead and click on it and you'll see it stands out now on the map. You could do something similarly if you wanted to see how this one ranks. Just click on it and now you'll see where it falls on the map. So a lot of good interactivity to be able to play around with it and drill into what you're interested in seeing. Okay, let's go back to the main menu again. So if you just click this button, you'll go back to the main menu. Okay, next up, I'm going to click on this one in the lower right. So this will allow us to dive into some of those on and off-premise locations that we saw in the last one. You can see each of these little circles now is going to be one of these locations. We're starting with off-premise. And what you can do is you can start to filter down to see what's going on in a certain region. Let's say, for example, we just wanted C-stores and we wanted Circle K's. Okay, cool. So now we can see each of those directly on the map. Let's try another example here. Let's say you wanted to just see like what's going on in this Poway region. You can highlight those and now you can see all the stores in just that little region. If you click this button up here, it's going to take us to on-premise. And these are coming directly from ABC licenses for the county. And we can continue to play around with this data and drill in. You can see each of the different license types up here. We have restaurants with beer and wine, restaurants, breweries, I think this is other beer locations, and then we have brew pubs down here at the bottom. So let's say we wanted to see where all the breweries are. Go ahead and click there, and now we can see how many are in each region. Looks like Vista has the most, probably not a real big surprise there. Let's go ahead and click a little bit more and continue to drill in. So if we looked at an individual region, we can do that and then hover over any of these to be able to see what location that specifically is. Okay, pretty easy to use and play around with the data, right? Let's go back to the main menu. Next up, we're going to get a little bit more into what businesses are around a tap room. So you'll see we have some different options up here to choose from. In this case, I'm going to use some of my friends at Pure Project, and we have one of their addresses listed because they have multiple locations. What we're going to see in the map here now is different ABC licenses within a radius of the brewery. So we'll see in this case, the brewery is this gold star, and then each of the different license locations is one of these dots. Right now, I'm looking at a radius of 2 miles. In this location, there's a lot. So I'm going to actually dial it back and just do a radius of a single mile. Okay, so that gives us a little bit tighter circle now that we can see what's going on. We can see there's 4 breweries, 81 restaurants, and 56 restaurants that serve beer and wine. So let's say I was curious with like who the 4 of these are over here. We just have to hover over it, and we're going to go ahead and see who those are in the list. This one's pretty straightforward, so I won't spend too much time on it. Let's go back to the main menu. Okay, next up on the list, we're going to look at how each either zip code or region ranks across the full county. So this one we have popped up. I'm looking at the zip code level right now, but you can look at regions also. I'll just click on there so you can see how things change. But back to zip code for this explainer. Right now we have each of the different zip codes listed for the region. I think we have 90 something. We're showing what region they're in. And then next to these main metrics that we're tracking across the top, we're showing what the total is. So in this case, the total population for this zip code in Chula Vista, 62,000 people. And that ranks number 1 across all the zip codes. We can scroll down and see how the population gets smaller and smaller as we go down. Sorry. Scrolling too fast. So let me go back up here to the top. We can sort by each of these different metrics. So let's say, okay, that's kind of interesting. Who has the highest population? Now I want to see what it looks like by growth percent. So now everything is sorting accordingly. If you wanted to just compare a few of the different regions, maybe you didn't care about the full county altogether, you can choose, let's say we wanted to see Poway, we wanted to see Vista, and Escondido all together. So now it's just going to do the ranking based on the zip codes in those regions. So that might be useful for you also. And then like I showed at the beginning, but we'll do it again, if you wanted to see how each of the 20 or so regions rank across each other, you can do that. And then if we wanted to, let's say we want to look at average income. So we can see how each of the different regions that we have in this study rank across average income. Okay, back to the main screen. So last up, we're going to look at target regions. I think this one's pretty cool. Now we're allowing people to start to look at this demographic information and use that to kind of prioritize where they might want to target different customers around the county. So on the top here, we have several different controls like we've looked at so far. But now what we're allowing people to do is choose one of the demographic metrics, weight it accordingly across all the other ones, and then show do we think higher is important or lower is important for that metric? And I'll come back to that in a second. But in this initial example we're looking at, we have population. Higher is better, so we're ranking high population regions, and we're saying that gets 50% of the total weight of our overall score we're coming up with here. Next up, we're going to do income at 30%, and we're saying high income is better in this case. And then we also want, in this example, regions that have high population growth, and we're going to give that a 20% rank. So what you'll see over here now is we're listing each of our regions and we're sorting them by priority based on what you entered up here in the controls. So in this example, Poway is ranked number 1. It's seventh for total population, but it's second in income and then third for population growth. So combining all three of those together, including the weighting, and that has Poway standing out on number one. You can see on the bottom of this list with what we've entered would be the East region. So low overall population, relatively low income. They are growing, but the growth in this case was only ranked at 20%, which is why East ends up with a pretty low score overall. So a few things we can do from here. One is we can start to overlay some of our different locations like we looked at before, right? So you can see which locations or breweries exist within any of those regions, especially the ones that were ranking high. We can also view it by zip code. So if we really wanted to get more precise, now we can see which parts of the county most precisely match the different metrics that we listed on top here, right? And we can see in this case, zip code 92130 in Solano Beach would be the one that most is closest to matching these different demographic metrics we have on top. Let me just show you one more example so you'll know how to use these a little bit more. Let's say this bottom one, this is the ratio of men to women within a zip code. So right now we're showing higher is better in this case. So that's saying that the zip codes that are more populated by men than women in the ratio is going to be ranked up top here. But let's say we actually wanted to look at it the other way. We wanted to see which zip codes have more females than men. Maybe we were targeting a beer more to a female audience. So in this case, we would switch this to lower is better. So saying we want the ratio of men to be lower. The inverse of that would be females being higher, right? Hope I explained that okay. So that's basically how to use this one. So if you wanted to show any of these where maybe income, you were actually wanted to rank higher places that had a lower income, you can do that and everything else will sort out accordingly. Okay, so that's basically how you use that last one, target regions. I think that's a great tool to really be able to start to find where your target customers might be more likely to be located and then be able to shift some of your sales or marketing resources accordingly. Great. I hope you found that tool interesting. We were able to take a lot of disparate data and piece it together and show it visually so you're able to get some new insights on the San Diego County market. There's some things you can do from here. Some next steps would be combining this maybe with your invoice or depletion data, right? To not only see where your target customers live, but then how well are you currently servicing them with all of your sales? I think that's a great way to be able to target certain accounts in certain parts of the county in order to direct your sales team to go and take some really good actions. So if you're interested in a project like that, or if you have any questions on the tool, please reach out. My email is jeremy@centralcoast-analytics.com. Again, that email is jeremy@centralcoast-analytics.com. I'd love to chat some more with you and your team about this or anything else related to brewery data. Thanks for your time. Have a great day.